rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I can do two.
Woo woo!
Patty was here, it was kind of hard to.
Oh, yeah, you're a busy guy, aren't you? Thank you. Okay. This one's out here. John doesn't even have to sit up here.
Welcome to the May 9th meeting of the Board of Trustees of the School Town of Speedway. As usual, we will be using a printed agenda, one of which is posted in the back of the room. There are 16 items on the agenda for tonight. Item number 1 is to approve the minutes of April 11th.
We're all jumping. We're all excited.
That was a...
I'll move that we approve the minutes of the April 11th, 2017 meeting.
Thank you.
Oh. Laura, I was letting you go. Luke, go ahead.
Sorry,
Luke.
that's what you meant
We're
to
trying
go
to
on.
confuse Ken is what we're trying to do.
Okay, I'll give it to Luke this time. So it's been, any comments? It's been moved and seconded that we approve the minutes of April 11th. All those in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries 5-0. Sign the minutes.
Ms. Gonzalez, can you hold my signature copies down there?
I
at
would
the
be
end?
most happy to.
Thank you.
It would be my pleasure. Pretty trusting of me.
I remember one time when I was on the end, way back when, you know, like the first round, and I said, "There's sign." And it's like, for real? That's right.
Oh, I get to say that then.
I say that.
I have to say that. Just passed it down, didn't sign it. The minutes have been signed.
All right. Thank you. I've got it somewhere in here. Item 2 is to approve the final action regarding Wheeler Elementary School construction project.
We have two actions to take. I'd like to wrap them up into one recommendation. I'm recommending that you accept Wheeler Elementary School as substantially complete. So that's the first recommendation. And that you allow $27,231 in allowances for change orders. Now, let me explain why that number is a little bit misleading. In any project, you set aside a certain amount of funding for change orders. In the case of this project, we set aside $50,000. So the change orders add up to a little bit more than half of that. But in addition to that, the architectural firm is assuming responsibility for $858. So the reality is the change orders will cost the corporation $18,373, or about 39% of the contingency. There'll actually be $31,000 plus in the construction fund that could be reallocated. So again, I'm recommending you accept the building as substantially complete and approve $27,231 in change orders.
Laura?
Mr. President, I move that we approve the building as substantially complete, and that we allow, or we find the building as substantially complete, and that we allow $27,231 in change orders.
I'll second that.
Debbie? Any comments, questions? I have one. Are we going to, they have to change those windows out this summer?
They have.
They've already done it?
They are done.
Okay, good. That takes care of that. They did it ahead of schedule
They
then?
did.
Okay.
Looks great.
Looks good. Looks very nice.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded that we accept the completion of the construction project and as well as the $27,231 add-on. And all those in favor? Motion carries 5-0. Okay, item 3 is to approve the continued participation in the federal summer food service program.
You may recall that we offered summer meals. We began this about 6 years ago. It has only grown. It has now become a staple part of our summer school. On any given day, you can see nearly 200 kids from age 18 all the way down to 1 or 2 years old in our cafeteria learning how to be spark plugs. My recommendation is that you approve our continued participation in that program.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion that we continue the participation in the Federal Summer School Food Service Program.
Thank you, Debbie. Tom,
I'll second.
any comment? Been moved and seconded that we continue participation in the federal summer food service program. All those in favor? Motion carries 5-0. Wow, we're going pretty quick here tonight. All right, item number 4 is to approve the early literacy grant.
Each year, Indiana offers early literacy grants for interventions to help with language arts. We are on a very regular schedule of applying for these when we're able. And this year, we're able to apply for a $10,000 early literacy grant specifically with the goal of keeping and helping our students remember or to remain proficient in reading at 3rd grade level and beyond that point. My recommendation is that you approve the grant as written.
I move that we approve the early literacy grant as written.
Thank you. Laura?
Second.
Any comment? Been moved and seconded that we approve the early literacy grant as submitted. All those in favor? Motion carries 5-0. Item 5 is to present the athletic handbook for the 2017-2018 school year.
And the high school athletic handbook, we're presenting it this evening. You've had a chance to review it. The athletic department actually has no recommended changes other than corresponding changes in date and one change that we changed the person for Title IX in Section 504 instead of being specifically Ms. Bach to change that to simply say Assistant Superintendent Curriculum and Instruction. They have no other changes. If there are edits or things that you've looked at or improvements, we'd be happy to work on them and bring it back for next month. If in fact you're inclined to see no changes, you could pass the handbook as it is right now, but that would be entirely your pleasure.
What's the board pleasure? Tom?
I'll move that we accept the athletic handbook for 2017-2018 school year.
I'll second.
Thank you, Debbie. Any comment? Laura?
I have a question, but it's
Go ahead.
at best tangentially tied to the handbook. Can we get at some point and it could even just be in writing maybe, an update on the random drug testing?
Absolutely. In fact, it'd be interesting to know how many tests we gave this year, how many, and random drug testing, I'm going to say 2 parts, because we not only do it for athletics,
Right,
but in case we had any suspicion tests.
right.
And then we'll also share how many we've done. We won't obviously share who. And if we've had positive, we'll share how many negatives, positives, or false positives. But we will put that on for June. Good data to know. It helps confirm whether we should be doing it and how we're doing it. So we will get that, absolutely.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the athletic handbook for 2017-2018. All those in favor? Motion carries 5-0. Item 6 is to authorize the execution of teacher contracts and hourly employment for the 2017 summer school program.
And what we have here is a spreadsheet. As you know, when we presented the plans and the programs last month, you have an idea of what we're looking at. We didn't go through and put all the details of the plans. What we're essentially asking you to do is give us the authority to pay not to exceed the amounts given. It could be possible that we wouldn't have enough students in enrollment, but the reason we need this is we'll actually be in and teaching and looking at first pay before you meet again. So we're asking you to pay these payments up to this point, not to exceed. So the recommendation is that you approve this list.
Laura?
I move that we approve or we authorize the execution of teacher contracts and hourly employment as indicated on this list.
I'll second.
Thank you, Debbie. Any comments? I just have one question. I assume the asterisk on that down here, that is because that individual is salaried?
Yeah, that's actually, yes. Well, they're a salaried employee, and they work through, the graduation coach supervises the online testing. We think it's a great use of their,
Yeah.
and it's outside the 200 days they normally work.
Okay. Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we authorize the execution of the teacher contracts and hourly employment for the 2017 summer school projects, programs. All those in favor? Motion carries 5-0. Item 7 is to a report regarding the textbook selection and textbook supply fees for the 2017-2018 school year.
And you have a detailed report. I'm going to give you the quick superintendent's summary of this unless you'd like. As you can see, all procedures were followed, diverse committees were set up, timelines were in place, and the key is that what are we recommending we adopt? In grades 1 through kindergarten through 5, we're recommending the program Interactive Science. In grade 6, we're also recommending McGraw-Hill, which that was a Pearson product. Grade 6, we switched to McGraw-Hill. The purpose in that is because increasingly we're attempting to align 6th grade as a lead into 7th and 8th grade science, and the cooperation there worked very well last year, which, as you will see, then makes sense that 7th and 8th grade is the McGraw-Hill science program and the cost. And then by courses at the high school, but if you look, you'll see the majority of our courses are Pearson courses. We do have some duplication in that. You have biology and AP biology. That'll just depend on how many students are enrolled, how many we buy. And then McGraw-Hill is a leader in integrated chemistry and physics. All committees have the appropriate sign-off pages. The real key is that if you approve this adoption, we also need you to take 2 actions, and that is we need you to approve the school fees that are associated with it. Now, in this case, I'm not going to spend time on secondary because secondary fees are based on whatever courses the students take. But at the elementary level, adopting these new science materials will result in a $3 increase to kindergarten fees, no change in fees grades 1, 2, and 3, a $5 increase at grade 4, $7 increase at grade 5, and a $2 increase at grade 6. Looking at this, you're looking at somewhere in the neighborhood about, in the grades that go up, a 1 to 3% increase in fees, and it's all about new science books. So my recommendation is that you approve the adoption of the science books as recommended and the fees associated with those adoptions.
Luke?
I move that we approve the adoption of the textbooks as recommended and the associated fees.
Go ahead. I second.
Thank you.
And I have a question.
Sure, fire away.
And this is a question where I am sadly feeling, because Patty would be the one to answer this, so maybe this is a.
We'll give it a try.
What type of science are we teaching in the elementary schools? What are these books are they being used?
You know what? The good news is I have an elementary principal here today. Ms. Snap, did I see you? Sure. And this is completely on the spot. Can you share a little bit about elementary science, what it looks like? Other than, obviously, we're probably going to give 8 to 12 pages of notes and then have the students read and then give them a 100-question multiple choice test?
Like that.
Okay, good.
Generally speaking, especially in the younger grades, they're used as a resource. They're not pulled out every day and used like that. However, in the upper grades,
Mhm.
4th and 6th, they use it as part of their science period. And then also sometimes it's used during the reading blocks. They try to integrate science and reading like where they can. But I would say if you were to go into kindergarten struggles with using a textbook, a textbook more so than any of the other grades. They don't use it as much, and they do a lot of read alouds, big book things. So, but they are used.
So I'm hearing you that we are still teaching science in our elementary schools.
We are still teaching science in the elementary school.
That's what I was hoping to hear.
Thank you, Ms. Snap, for being here.
Yes.
We didn't plan that.
I assume also some of these, with the I prefix, they also have diskettes
Online.
online.
That's,
whatever. Okay.
Everything is in the cloud.
Any other questions? Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the textbook selection as presented and the textbook and supply fees as presented as well. All those in favor? Motion carries 5-0. Item 8 is to approve the 2017-2018 employment contracts for homeschool advisors, graduation coach, and nurse.
And first off, let me say that we're very satisfied with the performance of all of our graduation, our homeschool advisors, our graduation coach, and our nurse. One of the great things is this board about 7 years ago attempted to make those contracts. This is absolutely no problem with me. I like the sound. but we increased their pay and we made their work year more appropriate. And those of you who remember, this used to be a revolving door, and it is not. These are stable people and valued people. And so to that end, very early in the year, already for next year, we'd like to let them know they have employment for next year. And in addition to that, this is a year that we look like we're typically going to give dollar increases rather than percentages. We're looking at increasing all salaries by about $1,770, which is, or $1,700, which is anywhere from 3.9 to 4.1%. We're pleased and hope that you'll support the recommendation to set these salaries and retain these folks.
Laura?
I move that we approve the 17-18 employment contracts for homeschool advisors, graduation coach, and nurse.
I'll second.
Abby? Any comments?
Do we have any, I just have a comment and item here tonight. Do we have any more news on our elementary nurses?
No, but yes. I mean, the news is the request for proposals are out. They are due on May 19th. We actually got our first one today, but I can't open them until May 19th. But we know for sure at least one person wants to do that,
Awesome.
one company. Haven't heard anything about, but I do have at least one company showing some real interest in the athletic training side with a connection, so I'm optimistic.
Good.
No more next month.
Yes, hopefully we'll be able to.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the 2017-2018 employment contracts for our homeschool advisors, graduation coach, and school nurse. All those in favor? Motion carries 5-0. Okay, item 9 is to present the budget development calendar for 2018.
And one of my favorite topics, but capital projects plan, we hope to have a rough draft through to you by Tuesday, the 11th of July, with a public hearing, not rough draft, but a first draft of the plan. Public hearing on August 18th, going to ask you to set a second meeting in August, on August 22nd, to adopt that plan so that we can produce notice. Those dates are set by, so just want to make sure you're aware. There may be in the summertime, many of you get detained for other things, so we'll keep you abreast with everything. Likewise, the budget development calendar is just a little different, but the same as the last few years. On the 11th of July, talk about general budget parameters, present the forms to you for review, ask you to approve the budget to pass it on to the town council again on the 22nd. So I can't stress enough, as we have, August is a 2-meeting month. It'll seem like you're here all the time. The date, Monday, present budget to town council, that's my date. They have not set that date. So I'm just telling you I suspect that's corresponding, but don't put that on your calendar. And by Friday, September 1st, we'll have all forms in the hands of the budget. There is no action here. It's just a matter of I want to make you aware of how the process will go. most of you haven't memorized.
Okay. We'll wait with bated breath.
Yeah, I know. I'm probably the most excited about the budget.
All right, thank you. Item number 10 is to approve the agreement to complete fixed asset inventory.
And probably the most different, every 2 years, we hire a company to come in and appraise and inventory all property valued at $5,000 or above. It not only adds new property to the list, it knocks off old property, and it tells us if anything's missing. The only difference is, this is the same company, American Appraisal. They were bought by a larger company, so the name is different. Total estimated cost is $5,260, which is $260 more than it was 2 years ago, because Wheeler is bigger than it was 2 years ago, and there's more property to assess. But my recommendation, this is just good, healthy financial practice. And I would argue this, frankly, this is the best company doing it, and we should use them.
Go ahead, Tom.
I'll move that we approve the agreement to complete our fixed asset inventory.
Thank Tom. I think Debbie
I
had
was
the
just
second.
trying to jump in there, Luke, sorry.
Okay, any comments? All right, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the agreement to complete the fixed asset inventory. All those in favor? Motion carries 5-0. Item 11 is acknowledgement of grants received.
And I would recommend that by consensus, you accept $188,737,000.08 by consensus.
$737.
These are just formula grants.
188,737,08.
73708, yes.
Yep.
Thank you.
By consensus.
By consensus, thank you very much.
Take it.
Okay, item 12 is a request for maternity leave of absence.
And the recommendation is that you approve a maternity leave of absence for Miss Laura Brim. She has been cleared to come back to work. Everyone's healthy. She is asking for a 2-week extension, which is absolutely allowed both under the Federal Family Medical Leave Act and Indiana law. So I'd recommend you approve this request as written.
I'll move that we approve the maternity leave of absence for Laura Brim.
Thank you. Have a second? Luke? Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the maternity leave request for Mrs. Laura, is it Ms. or
Miss Brim, Mrs. Laura Brim.
Okay. All those in favor?
Sorry.
Okay. Motion carries 5-0. All right, item 13 is resignation. Is it singular?
Yes, I'm sorry, it's only one. Ms. Carrie McRoberts, who has very kindly filled in for us in a temporary position for the spring semester after an unexpected resignation in December. When she was hired, we explained to Carrie this was a part-time job, or a one-semester job. She has done a marvelous job and filled in, and we will keep her name very close to us should we have an unexpected opening. But at this point, we recommend you accept Ms. McRoberts' resignation.
Tom?
I'll move that we accept the resignation of Carrie McRoberts.
Laura?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the resignation of Carrie McRoberts. All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. Okay, item 14 is employment recommendations.
Lengthy recommendation this evening. I'd like to first start out by saying we're joined in the audience. The first recommendation is that you reassign Mr. Luke Zartman to the position of high school principal, Mr. Rick Roseborough to the position of Speedway Junior High School principal at the current level of salary and benefits, that you employ Mr. Lance Schnaus as the new principal at Newby Elementary School effective July 1, and that you employ Michael Scheck, a graduate of Speedway High School and Indiana University, as an elementary teacher, Miss Rachel Abel as a graduate of Butler University. She under her high school was spent at Center Grove, and that we employ Miss Katie Payton as an elementary teacher. She is currently employed in Mooresville Schools and will be, as a special education teacher, will be coming to us as an elementary teacher upon your approval. So, 3 administrators, Mr. Zartman of the high school, or the principal at the high school, Mr. Roseboro principal, Mr. Lance Schnaus as principal at Newbie Elementary School, and as teachers, Michael Scheck, Rachel A. and Katie Payton, and their accompanying materials are in your packet.
Board's pleasure.
You want to go?
Okay, Laura.
I move that we approve the reassignments of Mr. Roseboro and Mr. Zartman to the junior high and high school principalships respectively. And we approve the employment of Lance Schnoss, Michael Scheck, Katie Payton, and Rachel Abel.
I'll second that. Welcome aboard.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Okay, so we haven't voted yet.
Well, let's vote.
Well, let's vote, yeah.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the assignment of Mr. Zartman to the position of principal at the high school, Mr. Roseboro at the position of principal at the junior high, and that we also approve the Lance Schnaus as principal at Newbie, and Michael Scheck, Rachel Abel, and Katie Payton as elementary teachers. All those in favor?
Let's do this thing.
Okay.
Mr.
Been
President,
approved.
would you entertain one additional personnel item?
Sure.
Typically, my practice is to do extracurricular positions as part of a larger packet of information in the summer as we look to the next year. But we have a unique situation. We have a recommendation to replace the head girls basketball coach. I'd like to get that position. I've approved it administratively. I'd like your support for that recommendation so that they can begin that practice. Part of the reason we're very pleased with this is Mr. Joe Smith, longtime elementary teacher, junior high counselor, has accepted our offer to become our varsity girls basketball coach and leave an exceptional program, and I'd recommend that we not let him get off the hook and hire him this evening.
I'd like to make a motion with pleasure for Joe Smith as the girls varsity basketball coach.
Thank you, Debbie.
One second.
Thank you, Laura. Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve Joe Smith as our high school girls basketball coach. All those in favor? Motion carries.
Mr.
I
Smith,
assume that's a yes down there.
That's an
he
abstention,
has to
probably.
abstain.
Oh, yeah, Mr. Smith has a relationship and will
Oh,
abstain.
that's right, okay.
He will recuse himself. Now, the abstention on the minutes
4-0.
goes as a unanimous vote, though. It goes with the majority. He just doesn't get the vote.
Okay.
Next item is recognition of visitors and other business.
So much fun, you don't know what to do with it all, huh?
All right.
I have no other business.
We will sign claims.
Sign claims.
Thank you.
We are adjourned.